Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. So today I'm at Snow's Mini in Portsmouth, and I'm going to be driving the latest John Cooper Works Mini hatch. Really excited to drive this car. It's been out a few months now, and I've kind of been trying to get access to one. Finally managed to do it thanks to the guys here at Snow's. So I'm really intrigued to see just how different this car is from my John Cooper Works Roadster. So let's take a look around the outside, then we're going to be taking it up the road for a spin. And I think there's going to be quite a difference in terms of performance and feel and handling. So let's take a look. So let's take a start at the front. Very, very much more aggressive front end. I'm loving all these kind of scoops and air intakes. John Cooper Works badging everywhere on this car. But from the front end, it's a significantly more aggressive car. On purpose, I think, to go that one step further than the Cooper, which is still a nice looking car. But from the front end, this car works for me straight away. Someone spec'd the options list well on here, because we've also got carbon fibre caps on the wing mirrors, which I like very much. From the rear of the car, undoubtedly a John Cooper Works. We've got obviously the badging. We've got this huge big spoiler at the top, and then the twin exit tailpipes. And these ones have got a beautiful carbon surround with John Cooper Works badging. I really like it. It's that kind of already, I haven't even got in the car yet, the sense of theatre is there. And I just think if we take a step back, when you look at the car and nearly get run over, I just think that looks really, really wicked from the back. Standard fit wheels on this car are 17 inch. This car's got the optional 18 inch wheels. And then this is stopping power, 4-pot Brembos up front with a rotor the size of an old Mini's wheels pretty much. So we should get lots of stopping power from that. And this car's shod with Pirelli and Centurata P7 tyres, so hopefully lots of grip from those too. Stunningly appointed interior. I'm loving these seats. John Cooper Works crests on them. Then if I spin round, a very familiar dash to the Clubman S and the basic Cooper that I've driven. This car has got some nice options, which we'll talk about more when we get out on the road. Okay, so here we are in the front seat of the new JCW hatch, and the first thing is there's an overwhelming sense of space in this car. I've got really long legs, and I've just had to pull the seat quite a long way forward to get kind of, in the right driving position. There's nice rake and tilt adjustment on the steering wheel, but again, I've brought that quite a long way towards me. But the initial impressions of the driving position are very familiar, although the car does feel bigger. Now, the big thing for me, because I drive a Roadster, and I don't know how much you know of the Roadster, but it's got a kind of much more sloped front screen, whereas this car's kind of stepped back a little bit and it's more upright, so you do feel like the windscreen's further in front of you. But yeah, so far so good. What I would say also is this car's spec is absolutely beautiful. It's got this fantastic panoramic roof, which gives loads of light. There's loads of space in the back for a couple of adults, especially. You probably have to bring the seats forward a little bit, but really, really very well spec car. This car has an upgraded media pack. It's got the head-up display. It's got the chili pack. So there's lots and lots of trim in this car, but we'll talk more about that when we get going. So what I need to do is make sure it's in neutral, foot on the clutch, start, stop. Turn the radio off for a start, and straight away here we go, head-up display pops up. How cool's that? Let's go. Well, I've hit major traffic not long after having left the dealership, but in a way it's quite good, because what I wanted to do is step through the different modes of this car, and the The first mode I'm in is green mode, so it optimises the car for efficiency and so on, and it deadens the throttle, and you can kind of, it's not got that sporty feel, but in this kind of environment where we're in creeping traffic, it works really, really well. First impressions of the car are, it just feels really solid and well put together. The steering weight at low speed, it's obviously assisted, so it's not too difficult, but it's just really nice. It kind of just, you know, feels robust. And as I said, you know, in the kind of creeping traffic mode, the clutch pressure I need is fine. This is a manual box, a 6-speed manual. So for creeping traffic, it's all good. It's got start-stop technology. So yeah, interesting. Not what you would normally do when you take out a nice sporty hot hatch is creep along in traffic, but it works really, really well. However, once you are in more open traffic, this green mode, it's not for me. I mean, if you were, you know, really wanting to look after your fuel economy and so on, I'm sure it's great. I can't imagine many JCW owners drive their car around in green mode very much. But if you look at the fuel economy figures for this car, you know, you're talking, you know, high 40s, then that's where you're going to get it. So let's take it up into the next mode. There's a little shifter just by the gear stick. I'm now going to go into mid mode, which I guess is just normal driving. Most people would probably use this mode for much of the time. Straight away the car's kind of come alive a little bit more. There's a bit more go and urgency when I depress the throttle. I don't know whether it does anything to the steering, but it certainly kind of feels a little bit more on edge, and a much more mini-like. So let's kind of put it through its paces in this mode. There's a very purposeful note comes from under that bonnet, and we'll have a chat about the engine in a little while. The big difference for this car, or this newest evolution of Mini, for the higher spec ones, for the JCW, is a move from a 1.6 turbo to a 2-litre turbo, and I can kind of feel that straight away, just in terms of the way the engine feels. It doesn't feel quite as edgy as mine does. I'm a reasonably patient guy, but I don't have enough patience to keep it in mid mode all day, so I'm now going to stick it in sport mode. Now, a couple of things are going to happen here. First things first is, on my head-up display, I now have, as well as the speed I'm doing, I have an indication of my rev counter and which gear I'm in, which is very, very cool. Kind of means I can concentrate on what's going out the front window without having to keep looking down at the dash, although the dash is pretty, in Minis, it's a very central place anyway. So let's just have straight away there's a kind of difference in engine tone coming out from under the bonnet. So let's just have I think we've got a bit of an acceleration coming up here. And it's doing some rev matching on its own, which is quite cool. Oh yeah, fruity. Very nice. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get some pops and bangs on overrun. I will be insulated from those a little bit, because obviously this is an enclosed cabin, and one of the things I find in the Roadster, with it's got such a thin roof, is even with the roof up, you can kind of hear a lot of what's going on outside the car. But yeah, so I'm now in the sport mode, and it certainly feels a lot more up for it, a lot more edgy. Let's go and find some nice country roads where I can give it a bit of welly. Rev match on the downshift, I quite like that, although this car's pedals are perfectly set up for heel towing anyway. You see, now that does sound really, it's a completely different sound to the JCWs I've driven before, quite kind of throaty. Probably got something to do with the fact it's a rev match on the downshift. It's a 2 litre, so it's not quite, you know, having its neck wrung. Here we go. Let's have a bit more of a play. Pick up in the mid-range is quite nice. As soon as you start getting a little bit more speed, the feel of the car kind of comes alive a little bit, so it's not quite as jittery on the roads as mine. A little bit more planted, I think. Certainly, it's just got that Mini feel to it though. Just Minis just have so much character. They just want you to go quicker and quicker and give them a good see into, and that's what this car does. It's quite a big car. It feels big anyway, considering it's a Mini. But yeah, first impressions on a nice bit of open road are very, very good. And these brakes are good too. 4-pot Brembos up front really give you that confidence in the stopping power. Very nice. I tell you what, the traction control, I've got the traction control just set as standard at the moment, so it's on. Doing really, really well. There's no kind of flashing lights. It doesn't feel like it's scrabbling for grip. It's just putting down that power onto the road really nicely. Oh, I love this car already. It's a B-road pointer. That's what I like about Minis. They're not stupidly fast, but when you get on a nice little B-road like this, you can really have such a good time. You know you're not going to be going stupidly quick. You can chuck them into corners. You can really kind of hang in there. Look at that biting and that fantastic front end on this thing. Wow. Really, really, and this is a bumpy bit of road as well, but really nice front end. No understeer. You'd get it obviously if you went a bit quicker than this, but very, very nice. It's kind of got all the traits of Ruby, but it's got that, I don't know, it's just a slightly better ride. More grown up, maybe, that's the word I'm thinking about. So this thing's got 228 brake. And so let's just have a bit of a chat about how it's getting it on the road. Now, this may well sort of start to stretch my engineering and mechanical understanding, but this car doesn't have a kind of mechanical limited slip diff. It's got something called brake assisted torque vectoring, which just sounds wicked. But whatever it does, it's Harry Potter witchcraft, because it's managing to avoid, I don't feel, a great amount of torque steer, which is normally the problem you get when you try and put that much power through the front wheels. In the corners, I'm not getting a huge amount of power understeer. It's kind of putting it down like that. It just pulls away really nicely. So yeah, really, really impressive. You'd normally think that you put that much power through the front wheels of a car and you're just going to end up with an understeer mess, and really difficult to put it down. So yeah, very, very clever delivery of that front wheel power. So I brought it down here, just the road surface is a little bit more bumpy. I just wanted to kind of see what that felt like. It's quite a nice little bit of twisty road, so you can really kind of just feel it in the corners, and it's got lots of power, uphill section, so we've got lots of torque. There's no kind of feel of sort of turbo lag in here. It just feels really, really on it, basically. Quite a view, but I just had to stop and pop the bonnet just to kind of give you a view of this. So this is a 2 litre turbocharged engine. It's got this twin power turbo that Mini use quite a lot now. 228 bhp, 236 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty impressive figures, really. So that'll get this car from 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. Top end 153 miles an hour in a Mini, which is just bonkers. But it can also return a 49.6 mpg. So all in all, I think it's a really, really impressive power unit. From this angle, you get a good view of the driving position and the kind of instrument binnacles in front of me. And I'm growing to like the new format with this Mini. And if you've seen either of my new shape Mini reviews, you'll know that the big loss, I think, is the movement of the speedo from this central dish up front. So I've now got my speedo in the middle. I've got a rev counter on the left-hand side. And I'm kind of getting used to that. What I love about my car is that the rev counter's center stage, and I really like that. So let's just push on a little bit down here. So you know, you do get used to it. The head-up display is a revelation for me. I just think that's absolutely brilliant, and I now desperately want one in my car. So on this quiet bit of road, hopefully I can just show you the head-up display. Very, very cool. And if I were to rev it, you can kind of see the rev counter. So I've just found the coolest gadget ever. I'm going to try and show you. So if I just go to menu on that central screen and scroll up to vehicle information and driving excitement. How cool's that? I've got a power and torque meter. God, now I have to get one of those. That's absolutely superb. Let's just see if once we come out of this built-up area, we can see if we can get maximum power and maximum torque. Okay, here we go. Drop it to second, and you see we're close. We red line there, and we got, what was that, maximum? Well, we got close to 300 torques and not quite 200 horsepower. Well, I'm going to try that again. I love the way it stops up there to show you what your maximum's going to be. Let's go. Here we go, and a second time from third this time. Oh, maximum torque, look at that, bosh. Yeah, get in there. Oh, I could play with this all day. This is way better than having a G meter. Okay, so coming to the end of the film, I need to give you my final thoughts on this car. Well, it's a big step up from the old JCW in terms of ride comfort for sure. Performance-wise, I don't think it feels that much faster. It's got a bit more low-down grunt for me, but the thing that is different is the way it's able to put that power on the tarmac. This new torque vectoring system thing they've got works really, really well. So, you know, you are able to exploit the power a little bit more, and I think because the ride comfort's so much better, you can as well. However, I think we do need to have a chat about the price, because although these start from 23,500 quid, I think, by the time you start ticking that options box, and there's some really nice options to tick. This car's got things like the head-up display, it's got the kind of premium entertainment pack, all those kind of things you'd want. It's got a beautiful Harman Kardon stereo. You're probably looking at kind of 30,000 quid, and that brings this car up against some really very, very good competition. You know, things like, I guess you could get certainly Golf GTI, maybe even a Golf R. I think probably things like Focus ST would be quite a good comparison for this. I've not driven one of those actually. I think maybe I need to try and arrange a drive of a Focus ST. But as a Mini fan, I'm sold. I think it's an absolute hoot. Would I buy one? I love the fact that the Roadster's not made anymore, and that makes the sort of car I have a little bit more exclusive. But you know, as an everyday driver where you can have a hoot, this car for me ticks the boxes, and it's got that Mini character and that go-kart feel that I think is just so important about a Mini, and the performance is staggering as well. So yeah, top marks. I'm very, very impressed. I kind of knew I would be, because when I drove the Clubman Cooper S earlier this year, the performance of that's amazing, and this has obviously got more power than that. So yeah, very, very impressed. Okay guys, so I am back here at Snow's, and the new JCW's ticking herself cool next to Ruby Roadster. What a fascinating test drive that was. This thing's quite a step up. You can tell in sort of, you know, better chassis, better engine, lovely feel, lovely firm weighted feel to it. So yeah, very, very impressive car. So I'd just like to say a big thank you to the guys here at Snows Portsmouth, Sam in particular. When I got in touch, he was so helpful to get me in the car today, so that's really, really very, very much appreciated. I hope you've enjoyed the review. I've certainly been very impressed by this car. It's kind of everything I expected to be and a bit more, to be honest. Great fun to drive. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have done so, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. Anyway, you take care, guys. Drive safe. Let's just do hoon mode with the window open.